The United States Supreme Court has clearly issued a ruling here. Trump is required by law to request the individual be sent back to the United States of America. That is a fact. I don't understand what the confusion is or what Marco Rubio is talking about other than the fact that he's just lying to the American people. And then there's Caitlin Collins. CNN's very own Caitlin Collins is asking Donald Trump a very simple question, and it's a poignant one. And the question is, very, very simply put, you just said, Mr. President, the other day, that if the Supreme Court did not rule in your favor, you would respect the Supreme Court's decision. And it turns out right now, they're not doing that. You're not doing that. Very simple question, but Donald Trump responds in only the way he can, which is to deflect and say and attack the person who asked a very simple question. Listen to this interaction between Caitlin Collins and Donald Trump.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago, and they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You know, you have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
You have no credibility. Donald Trump just said Caitlin Collins of CNN has no credibility. Why didn't you answer the question, Mr. Dictator President? You just said on Air Force One the other day that you would respect a Supreme Court ruling even if it wasn't in your favor. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0. You're not respecting the Supreme Court's ruling. Why did you lie? Well, who are you with? Where are you from? You don't have any credibility. Nobody's watching you. That wasn't the question, Mr. President. As I said before, and I say again, this is a constitutional crisis. This is a dictatorship. This is an oligarchy. We are talking now about the Supreme Court, which is, by the way, stacked with conservatives. And you have Marco Rubio, who's lying. You have Stephen Miller, who's trying to spin this 9-0 ruling that was against him as some sort of win. You have Donald Trump, who's not answering direct questions. You have the president of El Salvador, who's a mini dictator. This is vile stuff. They're gaslighting. It's despicable. It's disgusting. And you have an innocent man in this El Salvador prison. An innocent man, and it hasn't even been proven that he's undocumented. And they refuse to send him back. Forget about even a nonviolent criminal, right, with no criminal record. We're not even sure he's undocumented, according to the Supreme Court. And they refuse to bring him back. And then you have Donald Trump talking to this man, the president of El Salvador, saying we need more of these prisons so we can send Americans there and torture Americans. And then he lashes out at Caitlin Collins. Folks, do we see the situation that we are in right now? Do we see where we're at right now as a country? These people don't get any due process. The Supreme Court could rule one way. It's unbelievable. This is a constitutional crisis. This is a serious problem. This is something that is only going to get worse over time.